This video is just trying to give you an idea of how you might make video, some figures in Microsoft Office, in particular PowerPoint, which there's a few subtle differences between Word and PowerPoint. So let's go take a look. So here I have a blank slide. The first thing I would do is I would click View, and you could turn on the grid lines. So this is kind of nice just for giving you some ideas here. Now, everything else is pretty much the same thing as in Microsoft Word, but just in case you're watching this one, I'll give you a few tips. And then if you need more tips, you can go watch that one. So let's insert some objects here. So maybe I'm gonna work with some circles here. And what if I want to make sure this is perfectly circular? The first thing I might do is come up here to the height and just type in 4.5 and 4.5. That way I have exactly 4.5. What if I need to find the center of this circle really quick? You can just click with a line here, and notice you can't really see the line. So maybe we need to change the color here. And maybe I'll change this one, shape fill. Let's just do like a light yellow or something just to make things easier. So if I need to do this, I could go from here. And so I'm waiting until it registers it, right? And so now I know where the exact center of that circle is if I need it. Now, notice if I move this thing, oh, that's the lines are actually snapped to there. When I have this, if I have this line like this, where it's not snapped to the edge, it's not going to stick to it. So it's basically auto grouping. So I wait for it to click in. There we go. So now they're grouped together. You could also manually group this. So let's say we had another circle. Let's insert another circle here. Right? And now maybe I want to make this one 1.75. And if I want to make them concentric, all I do is I line this one up, and I can just kind of line these up on the circles. But PowerPoint's pretty good at it, so it snaps it right to there. Now let's say I want to group all these, right? I could highlight this. I'm going to press and hold Control and click this, and now I can hit Group to group things, so I can move them around as a single unit, right? And all right, so that's great. Or you can ungroup them as well. Now it's a little bit strange. I don't know where those lines went to, but that's cool. That's very strange. I wasn't planning on talking about that. But now let's say I need some arrows, and maybe I want to line this up so it's right on the horizontal axis there. All right, so that's looking pretty good, right? And maybe you want to put in an arrow here. And you can adjust the length of the arrows up in the corner. And then if you were doing a presentation, that would be really skinny and hard to see. So I like to open this pane. You can also adjust this up here, but I'm going to go over here and I can adjust this width, something easy to see on a presentation, maybe like 3-point. And maybe I need to make this color match. So maybe let's just make both of these that strange kind of yellowish color. Now notice this is not going to show up very well on a talk, so let's pick a different color. How about bright red? Oops. There we go. So now I've got these two things, and obviously later on I can get rid of the grid lines. Now, what if I need to write something? Maybe this is a force or something, and let's just pretend it's a Coulomb force. So I could do Insert, Shapes, Text Box, and then what I would do is I would immediately type Alt equals. And so maybe this is the force of 2 on 1, and maybe that's a vector. I hit double space there. Or you could do like this. You could hit F, vector, and then I could do the subscript 2 on 1. So notice you can have the subscript either before you do the vector or after. And then let's just say this is K Q1 Q2 divided by R12 quantity squared in the, let's say it's R12, and then we'll go hat. All right, so we've got it. Oh, I don't like how that looks. I'm going to go R hat. Ah, geez. Let's say, oh, there we go. R hat, and then do the subscript 1, 2, something like that. You can stretch that. You can make it color coded, etc. And so that one's all good to go. the reason you should use the equation editor is now this will exactly match any of the equations you actually use in your presentation, and it's less burdensome on the viewer who's trying to understand you as you talk. So if all of the math symbols look exactly the same, they can focus on the content more than the formatting and italics and things like that. It seems pretty silly, but you're trying to make it as easy as possible for the reader to stay focused. If you make it slightly hard for them, you never know what's going to be the straw that pushes them over the edge and says, I don't want to listen to this anymore. Of course, usually that straw is taking a physics course. Anyways, anything else we should say about these figures? Oh yeah, so another cool trick you could do here, you could also, just in case you haven't seen this before, if we go up to, whoops, got my zoom in the way. Let's click on this, and then you could try and rotate it. Let's see if we go to the format shape. Oh, whoops, we might have to go up to here. So we'll go into rotate. So you can rotate it, and if you click more rotation options, oh my gosh. So you can literally type in the, oh my gosh, are we gonna have to do it this way? All right, so it is a little bit different than Word here. You know what I would do at this point is I would just go to the other method. If you know the angle that you want, you could actually type in the components up here. So let's say I want this to be 1 in the one in the vertical and 1.8666 or something here. So you could actually type in the components of the vector to get this to align. Or you could look around and find how to rotate this one, but this is working a little bit different right now than I was planning on, and I wasn't expecting to do this. So now I got to look in here and see where it is. So you got to pick your axis to rotate around, and I haven't really thought this through. So let's see if it's this one. There it is. So you could also type in here and just manually type in the angle. So now, obviously, let's say the width is 2 and this is 1 and 0. So you start out, and let's bring this back to 0 here. So the idea here is if you start with a particular vector and then you want to rotate it, you can go, like I said, you can either manually type in the components up here, or if you click on this, you have to dig around for it. I forget which one it was in. This one, rotate, and then you come into here and you can literally type in an angle to rotate it. And if you forget which axis, just play around with it and try it. One thing that you might check, anytime you're making a presentation, double check, what size is that font? It's at least 18-point font. That way you know people are going to be able to read it. So again, we're making figures. Use color and color code things if easy. Use the equation editor. Learn how to rotate things. Learn how to group things. And try and use colors that are high contrast. Basically, avoid yellow on a white background and avoid dark blue or dark purple on a black background. So, all right, let's leave it at that. And